Hi everybody, welcome to a different kind of Transformation Thursday. So, the premise of the whole Transformation Thursday has been that you can't successfully change the outside unless you successfully change the inside. And should have been centered around how God is working with you, how God is transforming you, working in your life, and changing your inside. And along the way, weigh-ins and stuff got added in. And I just saw Rhonda Spanky Cola, her video announcement on the reformatting of Transformation Thursday, and I have to say I can't agree with it more. For me personally, it honestly never dawned on me to just post two separate videos on my weigh-in versus my Transformation Thursday. But I am quite okay with the separation because I've always felt that mashing God's work with me, with my with my weigh-in, is just kind of uncomfortable. But I thought it was honestly just because it was a new kind of video for me to make, and it's never been really comfortable. Just I figured I was having a hard time getting used to it. So I was really glad actually of the split. I will still be weighing in on Thursdays, and I still will be posting a weigh-in and goal video either Thursday night, Friday morning kind of thing as my schedule allows. But my Transformation Thursday videos are going to strictly be about how God is working with me, how He's working in my life, how He's transforming me on the inside as a part of my journey. My Transformation Thursdays will not include my weights and stuff like that anymore. So, switching over to the new format, I agree that the Transformation Thursdays should be a testimony to how God is working in our lives. And in saying that, I'm going to give you a quick backstory, only because I've never really found a really good place to put it with mashing things up. So I'm just going to give you a quick backstory on how my relationship with God has been in my past versus how it is now, because it's hugely different. In all honesty, it is hugely different. So recognizing how God is working with me is still a rather new process for me. I've never really analyzed that part. So as a really young girl, we went to church, my siblings and I went to church with my neighbor, who was at the time in her late 70s, early 80s. And I can't really remember my mom going too much, and my dad, I can't ever remember going. My father was raised as a very, very strict Catholic, and it really kind of turned him off in that respect. As a kid, he just never went. That was, nope. So we ended up going with my neighbor, who happened to be our church's secretary. We did Sunday school, and during school breaks, we did vacation Bible school, and I liked it. I had a good time, and then there was no really rhyme or reason. Well, there was a rhyme or reason, but we just slowly stopped going. My neighbor was older, she got ill, so we were able only to go when she felt good enough to return, and eventually my neighbor died, and we just stopped going, because my parents never went. I can't remember honestly what year she died, but it was quite a span between when I stopped going and then till when I started going again. When I was 16, I had something happen that I'm really still not comfortable discussing, but I had something happen that it made me feel like if I walked inside the church was going to burn down. I don't know any other way to put it. I felt like if I stepped inside that church, that church was going to burn down. There's going to be some other natural disaster that was going to knock it down and the people with it. And it's like, the question inside my mind was, how could God even let me in the door without, doing the whole building away? It took me a really long time to get over, or to get by, not over. I don't think it's something I'll ever get over, but to get by what happened. It took me even longer to realize that God was exactly what I needed. So fast forward till I was, 5 years ago, so I was 36, my husband had a life-changing surgery. I almost lost him in that surgery. He had to have his colon removed due to a genetic disease that he has. And I almost lost him. And I was so stressed out between trying to work a full-time job to support everybody, care for 2 small children, go make sure my husband was okay at the hospital because there were things going on that he wasn't getting the proper care that he needed. So I became his nurse when I was there. Then they sent him home, and we didn't qualify for the VNA to come in. So hold that thought. When they sent him home, eventually, it was like 2 weeks after his surgery, we didn't qualify for the VNA to come in. So I would get up in the early morning, and dress, clean dressings, and everything before I went to work, make sure he had things. I would go to work, come home on lunch, make sure he had food, make sure he had his medicines, go back to work, finish out my day, come back home, and start the nurse care all over again, take care of my kids who were then home from school. And, that was my day. And then every other week, not every other week, every other day, I wish it was every other week, every other day we were in the ER, there were complications. So eventually they discovered that he had an abscess the size of a half-gallon milk jug that went inside of his stomach, hip bone to hip bone. They had to insert a drain that was led to like a drainage bag, a full, it would get full. I would have to drain it. You have to measure there was just so many nursing things that went along with this, as well as working full-time, taking care of 2 kids. And it was actually so much stress, and I was getting so little sleep. I crashed my car I was trying to park my car, and I crashed my car into our stone wall. But, that's just the type of, I was getting so stressed out and so little sleep that's one of those stupid things that happens. But before they found the abscess, the days I wasn't in the ER, I was literally calling the nurse saying, I don't need to go to my husband's funeral. I know what he looks like dead. He's sitting in front of me pretty much dead. And the only help I had was God. And I turned to Him to make it through. Sorry, it's one of those things, it happened a long time ago, but it still really affects us both. It really drove home to me how wrong I was in thinking that God wouldn't let me through the church doors, or He would think differently of me. So I turned to God to get through and to get help with everything going on. They found the abscess. My husband still has, he has like repercussions from the surgery. He will never, there's no cure for his disease. It is strictly tests and praying a lot on my end that have kept him here, I think. Because most people with this disease, it's called FAP, most people with this disease don't really, they don't last too long. So my husband turns 54 in a week, and enjoying time with him has been really important since this happened, since we got the diagnosis. And it runs, like I said, runs in the family, but nobody else in his family has it. That's the kicker. His mother had 7 kids. He's the only one with it. So you tell me why he's still here. So going back, I have learned in those 5 years to turn to God more and more. But since starting Transformation Thursday, and I think this is what makes Transformation Thursdays really important to me. Since starting Transformation Thursdays, it kind of gave me a chance to stop and analyze, how is God working with me? And to notice how God is working in my life. And when you stop and analyze what he's already done in my life, there's so much. There's so much that he has already done for me. So giving him time during my day, I look forward to it. I honestly never thought, with the way my father was brought up and the way, kind of the haphazard way that we grew up in the church, I can honestly say I never ever thought that I would have the relationship with God that I have. So, all this being said, last week I wasn't really certain how he was working with me. I have not, it really was unclear. Usually it's poof, here you go. And last week it was really unclear to me. I just knew that I had to focus on God, and whatever he was going to show me, whatever he was going to direct me to, I was going to follow, because I wasn't getting through the week without it. I had to focus, and my focus, happened to be on God. And like I said, I wasn't sure what he was working with me last week. And Music Mom, I'm one of my subscribers. I'm really sorry. I cannot remember your name. My brain is like a sieve at the moment. But Music Mom suggested perseverance. And I got to thinking about that after I had gotten her comment. And yeah, I I agree. I did not have a name to put on it, but she's right. This week, I know, because it's one of those things, sometimes you just hear from the big man upstairs, and I think, I know this week. That's just what I heard this morning is, and it makes me nervous to say this because I'm wondering why, but he's working with me this week on relying on him. Now, I say relying on him, but that is completely different than trusting him. And he has worked with me in the past. That was a hard one for him to get into my head. I tend to have control issues. So this week he's working with me on relying on him, and to get through my days, to get through whatever's coming. And I'm honestly not sure why, but I am just going to have to take the days as they come, people. Because if I try to forecast it, if I try to figure out what's going on, I'm only going to make myself sick. In all honesty, that's just, I'm not even going to go there. Not doing it. I'm actually looking forward to seeing, in a way, what's going to happen this week. Too many surprises around the corner. So, as far as with God and my week coming, I am going to focus my time with him, be it in Bible study, scripture study, prayer. I have 2 books going right now, that a devotional and I guess I'd call it a self-help book in some way. Not sure. And they've been really helpful. When I get a few minutes to read, they've been really helpful for me. So I'm going to continue with those and just kind of watch and see what God's going to do this week. I know that my relationship with him has changed greatly. Not just in the last 5 years or over the course of my life, but in the last, since doing Transformation Thursday, it's really changed, just because I actually stop and think about how he's working in my life. So I look forward to the new things coming. I don't have so much hesitation for the unknown that's coming in days. Not to say I don't have any, or I don't stress at all, but there's not as much. Just not as much. So that being said, I will see you next Transformation Thursday to once again let you know how God has been working with me and what I've learned and any surprises that he's popped up along the way. because you know there's going to be some. All right, over and out, tater sprouts.